Hey, my big maroon paddle box is going on a little trip. Hello, this is Miscellaneous Mischief 48, and get ready to learn a little about stuff you've never ever heard of before, and doesn't even really exist anyway. Well. For the past couple of years, I've been secretly retooling and reconceptualizing what I wanted to do with my old talking train characters. I never abandoned them. I simply just took them to the back of the shed to work on them. From the shadows, I've noticed some of the reception my old characters had on you all over the years, especially those that have been with me since the DeviantArt days. I'm sure some of you must have thought it was a real waste just leaving all these cool OCs to rot without going anywhere with them. Well, that'll all change today. Arguably, my most popular character will be seeing the light of day, hopefully. Meet Victoria, the London and South Western Railway Drummond T14 locomotive from Eryland. Oh yeah, wait, hold on. What the heck is in Eryland? The nation of Eryland is the result of thousands of years of tectonic craziness going on in the northern region of the UK. It's a rather small landmass that's been the home to the Northumbrians, then the Scots, and finally, its own people. It gained its independence from Scotland in 1557 and has yet to lose it. So that makes it not part of the United Kingdom, but rather its own humble little separate nation. Like the UK, it has a rich history of monarchical rule that lasts through to today, with kings and queens presiding over the Erylish people with firmness but fairness. For a small country, it's been surprisingly self-sufficient for all these years, and in the mid-1800s, businessmen and politicians saw the opportunity for a successful rail industry due to Eryland's rich coal deposits and thriving agricultural scene. This resulted in the formation of the now famous Great Central Erylish Railway. Oh yeah, and Victoria is one of the engines there. Before I get to the good part where you fans of her come in, let me summarize her official, real-world, still fictional, story. So, LSWR number 448 was the last of the original batch of T14s to be manufactured in 1911, and Eryland was in need of an express passenger engine. None of the other major railways at the time wanted to help them out, but good old Dougal Drummond decided to extend an olive branch. Mainly, he just wanted to get rid of number 448 because the LSWR didn't really need her after all. So after signing some papers, Victoria was shipped off to Eryland and renumbered to the next chronological GCER number at the time, number 15. At first, Victoria's personality was nearly the complete opposite of what it is now. Upon arriving at the GCER, she was gobsmacked and mortified that a prestigious mainline railway engine like herself was to work on such a small, insignificant railway. She was haughty, conceited, stuck up. Even James the Red Engine would look at her and say, "You know, you kinda suck." Thankfully, she would only remain this way for a short time. She quickly grew to actually love the railway and all the other engines working with her. Eryland taught her what it really means for an engine to be loved and valued, as she received none of that back home. She grew to love the GCER so much that when the idea of moving back to her old English railway was proposed to her, she erupted in tears and blubbered in between sobs that she didn't want to go back, that her true family is here in Eryland. Ever since then, Victoria's taken on a much kinder, more maternal nature than her insufferable younger years. She puts everyone's health and safety first, and is deeply appreciative of getting to work another day on the GCER when she wakes every morning. She still has some of her bold characteristics within her. She takes no nonsense from anyone, and firmly stands her ground if any person or engine speaks against her or her friends.
I will not heed the word of a charlatan. I am simply too intelligent and dignified to do that.
So that last chapter card that just passed probably confused some of you. What do you mean two Victorias? Does she have a twin? No. In fact, allow me to explain what I mean. I'm now finally at the part where you all get to have some fun. So, sometime in the 1950s, when the railway was on the verge of an economic boom, the then manager of the GCER, Mr. Stephen Godfrey, approached Victoria and said, "What do ye think of the idea of ye being in books, television, and films?" Victoria liked that, and humbly asked,
"Only if Her Majesty approves."
So, the proposition was looked over by the then Queen of Eryland, Elspeth III, and she had this to say:
"I agree to the terms on the grounds that the Great Central Irish Railway earn royalties off of public iterations and interpretations of our number 15 locomotive, Victoria."
By the way, I'm not actually asking for money off this. This is merely for canon explanation purposes. Just roll with the RP. So, after the Irish Queen gave her okay, as soon as money was involved, Victoria is now free to be featured in outside media productions. This includes the British famous Thomas the Tank Engine. And now for my big announcement. This government-sanctioned fan media version of Victoria is free to be publicly used in fan stories, AUs, crossovers, etc, etc, etc. Victoria can be put in literally any situation you write her to be in. As long as her basic personality traits remain based on the real world Victoria, you'll end up with a fun, likable, and quite eclectic posh character that can be in supporting roles as well as leading roles. The main important distinction that must be made is my Victoria, the original Irish one, exists canonically in a universe where Sodor doesn't exist. This original version is what I own. The Victoria that exists in the Thomas universe and travels to Sodor is the one that you all get to own publicly. Each copy of Victoria is personalized. You each own your own fan interpretation of her, so don't be afraid to experiment and stretch some of her traits to make the story you want to make with her. Because at the end of the day, the actual official Victoria from Eryland I created is strictly separate from and unaffected by the public Victoria, so I don't think she'll be that opposed to more wacky ideas. And that just about covers it. Victoria is now technically free to be used in your own Thomas stories or AUs as a fan reimagining. For fans of the Thomas CGI series, orthos of her CGI-styled model are up on my Twitter and Blue Sky. As for a model era version, go crazy I guess, I haven't done one. Thank you so much for watching, and look out for another video soon, where I release Victoria's official character theme, as soon as I finish composing that thing. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and also, one last thing, if any of you are aiming to represent a more canon interpretation of Vicky with more influences from the original one from Eryland, feel free to shoot me a message on Twitter, Blue Sky, or Discord with any questions. I hope one day I'll get to see some cool stuff with her. Art, cool liveries, ships. Oh no, I think I just realized the mistake I made!